This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.
Welcome back. He is a Grammy-nominated worldwide star with multiple awards for his music. I'll call him Andrew, but the world knows him as Hozier. Welcome, my friend. How are you?
Thank you very much.
Or I should say
I'm
welcome
good.
back, actually.
Yeah. Hey, it's great to be back. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you.
The new EP, we got to tell everyone to go out and buy this because it's amazing. Nina Cried Power. He's on tour now in America and then Europe. All the tour dates at Hozier.com. Congratulations on these 4 amazing songs, man. These are really, really good.
Appreciate it. Thank you very much.
So this would indicate, obviously, that there will be more
work to
coming later. Not this year, but maybe
Yeah.
2019? Or?
Early 2019 will be the album proper, I would think. But we should have a song. I think one more song before Christmas.
Okay.
If all goes well. But this, it's a nice kind of reintroduction. It's kind of like a little taster plate, I suppose.
Yeah. Well, clearly you spent some time on it because they sound amazing. They sound really, really good.
Thank you.
I apologize. I'm sure you've been asked this a million times, but I've never interviewed you before. But I'm fascinated first with your father.
Okay.
Your father was in a blues band, correct?
He would have been. He was in a lot of blues bands back in the same way in the UK and Ireland would have had a huge blues live scene in the kind of 60s and 70s, and I suppose he would have. He was a drummer.
Do you know what songs they played?
Yeah, in fact. Yeah, loads. So like it would have covered like Manish Boy. They did some of them stuff.
Old school
they had
blues.
a lot. A lot of Chicago blues, I suppose.
Yeah.
So yeah, and lesser so Texas blues, but mostly kind of a Chicago blues catalog.
Yeah.
I think, and then a few soul tracks here and there. But
so obvious, assumption would be, I guess I know where the blues and the soul and the gospel comes from. It's a family tradition.
His record collection was nothing but like Chess records and Stax records and stuff like that. So that, to me, that was the first stuff I would have been listening to as a baby,
right,
as a child. Yeah,
they were programming you from an early age.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Do you remember what was the song that really sort of? You could have been 5 or 6 years old or 7 years old. Mm-hmm. Was there one song that really? Oh my God, Dad, who is this? Like,
it probably wasn't until I was a little bit, when you're kind of aware of yourself, and it's not until you're maybe 10, 11, 12 you start actually cultivating a taste for a taste's sake. As a kid, I remember hearing kind of things like John Lee Hooker and just like the rhythm of it and the kind of some of his early kind of one chord boogie stuff. But I remember definitely a switch being flipped when I heard Sam and Dave for the first time, when I heard Soul Man for the first time. That definitely was a kind of a big moment. Yeah,
big great horns in that one too.
Oh yeah,
right.
God, yeah.
I want to talk about guitars for a second. I saw you at the Beacon Theater the other night. It's actually the first time I saw you. It was a couple nights ago. I'm not sure what song it was, but all of a sudden you strapped on this square guitar.
Right, okay.
And you know what I thought of immediately? Mm-hmm. Bo Diddley.
Right, okay, yeah. So sadly, I won't say sadly, but it's not quite as slick as Bo Diddley's old guitar. It's an oil can, would you believe? So it's
an oil can.
It's just an oil can, yeah. So it's
is it filled in inside, or is it?
We had to weigh it down with some stuff and kind of pat it out. So I think we put some towels, not towels on it, but some you can actually open it, and yeah, it is a hollow instrument. And it's made by a company that based their designs after a South African tradition of street musicians who used to just make guitars out of oil cans. They're called boho guitars. And it's an interesting character to it, but I kind of fell in love with in a way, and they do it with vintage ones as well too. Kind of
right,
these rusted, interesting guys. Really, really.
I immediately thought of Bo Diddley, and I immediately thought he's got to put something inside there, otherwise it's going to be Jimi Hendrix at Woodstock with feedback, right?
Start singing, yeah. No, they're pretty. They're made well, but yeah, it definitely has that character to it.
Yeah. I want to talk about the track Nina Cried Power, the title track. Mm-hmm. Powerful video for that title track for the EP, mm-hmm.
which
involves and features a lot of activists.
Yeah.
All of them are from Ireland, correct?
Yeah.
Well, speak about that a little bit.
I mean, all of them are based in Ireland now, I believe. Some of them are from further afield. So I mean, the song is kind of a thank you note to people who kind of imbued their work with some spirit of protest and kind of spoke honestly and sang honestly about their times and in a similar way. The video, it was nice to kind of want it to be an extension of that thank you note, and so we've everybody from we've a lot of activists. Obviously, Mavis is in it, and she's so central to the spirit of that song and to the intention of that song. And then you have people like Bernadette Devlin, who was a civil rights activist in Northern Ireland in the Northern Irish civil rights movement in the late 60s, and Eamon McCann, similarly also involved, which at the time they would have been fighting for a one man, one vote for people in the north of Ireland. What's important, I suppose, for me about that is the Northern Irish civil rights movement kind of took its lead from the example set in the American civil rights movement. Then you have people who are fighting against direct provision, which is the way the Irish state is treating refugees at the moment, which is they can't gain access to third level education, etc. They can't gain legal employment, etc. So it's kind of the people who recently we voted via popular referendum the equal right to marriage for the gay community, and decriminalizing abortion, and there was a pro-choice vote.
Big changes for a country like Ireland.
Yeah, changes in the last 10, 15 years. And I suppose in the context of history, it's easy to take a lot of things that we enjoy as a democratic society for granted, whether it's anything we're talking about, whether that's our right to vote or our workers' rights or whatever. But they are something. Progress is slow, and it's achieved by the work of people like that, and it's nice to just take stock of that sometimes.
Well, good for you for bringing the world the attention that it needs and warrants. I mean, and I think on your website you say there's been a lot of changes in Ireland, and then you sort of list the people that are in this video and what they've done. Totally. And so everyone should go and check that out at Hozier.com. Let's get back to Mavis. You had her in mind when you were writing the title track for the EP, right?
Yeah, that kind of, as the song took form, I mean, it took form maybe last year at some point, and we recorded it this year. But as it developed and as I started talking about it, particularly with Marcus Drabs, the producer, I really wanted that song to be a duet, and I think especially because she's one of the names mentioned in the song as such an important artist, someone, and one of the names that kind of thank you note is penned to, having her involved was super important to me. Yeah.
Did you see The Last Waltz? You must have seen The Last Waltz, right?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. No, it's amazing. And
ever since I saw that, I've been a fan of the Staple Singers and Mavis and everything.
Yeah, no, the Staple Singers are incredible.
I just found this out. Booker T.
Yes,
is
Booker
on
T.
this
Jones.
EP as well.
Yeah.
So is he playing the Hammond B3?
He's
What's he playing?
He's playing a B3. Yeah. He's playing
okay.
B3, yeah, and so. Yeah, he came out to London and joined us for a week there. So when I was on the road last time around, he had reached out, and it was basically with this really amazing message. Look, if any opportunity arrives to work together, that'd be awesome.
That's a nice message.
It was, oh my God, I was blown up, and also because Sam and Dave, etc. He was the Stax House band leader, so him,
so many songs.
Yeah, and Booker T and the MGs, obviously he would have arranged a great deal of Otis Redding's kind of catalogs, music that to me is the reason I wanted to be a singer, wanted to write music. So being able to work with him and tell him that as well was just a dream.
Now you just got to get Steve Cropper there and play some guitar, right?
No, totally. Yeah.
And I want to talk about another track on the EP. Speaking of the blues, it's not a blues song per se, but it's got the blues roots in it. It's Moment's Silence.
Moment's Silence.
Talk about that one.
Moment's Silence. It's a tricky one. It's kind of it's kind of just doffing the hat to a kind of a bluesy tradition, and there's sort of a kind of a gospel-y feel to the chorus. I wanted to write something that was fun and that was kind of enjoyable. That one is sort of, if I can be fairly bold about it, it's kind of, for me, it's a kind of a tongue-in-cheek inquiry into the relationship between like power and oral sex, I suppose.
Okay, we'll take that.
Okay.
I want the cover photo on the EP, Nina Cried Power. Was that taken underwater?
It was, yeah.
So tell me what happened there.
Yeah, we did a few. It was okay. So my mother is an artist, and so she designed and the first album's cover.
Oh, okay.
And I thought it would be be lovely to kind of continue that aesthetic and follow on from it. So we kind of discussed it, talked about what that composition could be. But her idea was, what if it was me underwater, basically. But yeah, so we set up a room, submerged it in water with the table and chairs, and like
Ireland, America. Where was it?
In Ireland? In Ireland,
okay.
Yeah. In a pool that was not heated actually at that time, so it was a long shoot. But yeah, we got some great stuff, and as the campaign rolls out, there'll be some lovely images from it. But
we look forward to that. I'm always struck when an artist plays a show. When it gets to the point where you've become a sort of a household name, people know your songs, and when you perform a concert, the audience sings your lyrics back to you, almost to the point where you could almost not sing. You could save your voice until the next gig because they could do all the singing. Do you remember where the first time that happened was, that sort of hit you?
Yeah, I think so. I think the first time experiencing that, and that's why I love coming to New York, and why it kind of it triggers a lot of very, very good memories and early memories of gigging. The Barry Ballroom show that we did, and it was a particularly difficult day, but we were met with a crowd that I had never felt that warmth and that kind of welcome before, and it was one of the first times as well too of hearing words sang back to me like that. And
that's got to be an amazing feeling, though.
It was definitely.
Here you are, just a songwriter in Ireland, and all the EPs come out in America, and then you come to New York City, and 1,000 people know your lyrics.
Yeah, it was a big game changer for me. Yeah.
Was there a moment in your sort of brief career at this point, really, because you're just getting started, a particular moment that you met or even played with someone on stage where you had that sort of, oh wow, I can't believe I'm doing this with this person?
Yeah, totally. I mean, the most recent memory would definitely be Mavis Staples. So right. Being in studio with her, getting to speak to her, getting to talk to her as we were talking about the lyrics for that song and talking about the different artists, and she would just stop and go, oh yeah, like, I remember this one time where like I was there at this show where Nina Simone did XYZ, or like stuff like so central, or even just talking about. There was one time we were sitting down and having a chat about. She was talking about her experience singing after the speeches of Martin Luther King, and like just to be near her and just to hear her speak about that is so outrageously inspiring. So getting and joining her, I joined her on stage recently at an Irish festival called the Electric Picnic, which was really, really fun. And then of course, like a couple of years ago, another example, Annie Lennox, another somebody of huge respect for, and like is a hero.
She can sing a little bit too.
She can sing. She can sing.
Amazing. We are with Hozier, the new EP, Nina Cried Power. He's on tour now. Hozier.com for all the tour dates. I know some artists do this. Do you ever keep a list of like, one day if I could just meet that person and do something with that person?
Yeah, it's so loads.
Give me a couple names.
So one. I think I say it a lot, but like when I was a young teenager, I discovered Tom Waits, and Tom Waits was a big hero of mine as a teen, and I kind of fell in love with this kind of perfect crookedness to his work and this kind of perfect ugliness to.
It's a great way to describe it. Perfect crookedness.
Yeah, totally. Like yeah. And when you're a teenager and you're kind of miserable and you're kind of drawn to something that just that just sets the world right for you. So like his work to me as a teen was everything. I'd love to work with Tom Waits,
right,
in a big way. Yeah, I really would.
Okay, I have some questions here where you have to pick one.
Okay,
you can't pick both. You have to pick one or the other. Robert Johnson or Muddy Waters?
That's very, very hard. It's very hard. I think I learnt more Robert Johnson songs and I listened to him more while learning how to play open tuning stuff. So I'd have to say, even though Muddy Waters, his songs, yes, but like, Robert
that's
Johnson.
A hard one.
Robert Johnson, yeah, let's do it.
Maybe harder, maybe easier. Bruce Springsteen or Bob Dylan?
Very hard. Very hard. I can't believe you're putting me on the spot on something like that. I think for me and also because I was in town and I saw the
They're
Broadway
both on
show.
Columbia Records, by the way.
They're both on Columbia
Yes.
Records, so that's a tricky one.
Yeah.
But I just saw Bruce Springsteen on Broadway last night.
I am very jealous
And
of you because I need to see that.
I wept. I wept. So I'm gonna say Bruce. But like, and also, it's a gorgeous show, and his work is just. I think there's something very beautiful about. Did you read Born to Run, the book? I haven't got a chance. I have it at home.
Fantastic.
I started.
Got to read that.
The tour happened.
I'm sure you've been asked this before. Beatles or Stones?
Yeah, Beatles or Stones. For me personally, the Beatles.
Yeah.
Sorry, but the Stones.
That's okay.
Yeah. I mean, that's not to say I don't love the Stones, and
right.
But yeah.
The Beatles are like in rock and roll heaven, though. They're like way up here, and the Stones are like a couple notches below.
I don't know. It's so above me to
because the songs are so perfect.
Yeah, it's
you know?
I think that what they did for popular music and kind of outside of their, they started with blues and rock and roll, and they kind of mastered their craft there, and then they just some of the different avenues that the Beatles explored is so amazing. So yeah.
Oasis or Blur?
Although I love Oasis. As a kid, I used to rock out a bit more. I was more of a Blur kid, which is super controversial.
Yeah,
but
yeah.
I love Noel Gallagher as well too. I have to say,
yeah,
he's a legend.
Freebird or Stairway to Heaven?
Stairway.
Yeah.
Sorry, just because. Yeah.
Yeah. His name is Hozier. Nina Cried Power, the new EP. Everyone go out and buy it. He's on tour now. Hozier.com for all the tour dates and a full album coming 2019
early
sometime.
2019. Yeah.
Thank you, man. Pleasure.
Thank you.
This is Out of the Box with your host, Jonathan Clark. Out of the Box, Sunday nights at 9 on Q1043.